Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are talking about TV episodes and the fact of how long is too long. Now, this is acting as a follow-up to a video that I made probably within the last week. I can't remember the exact day. I do apologize for that. Basically titled "Why Movies Are So Long Now." But before we go any further, guys, just remember that at least one of my videos every week will not be coming to the YouTube channel. They will only be coming to my BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble channels. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not started following me on at least one of those three alternative sites, the links to those are down in the description below. With that out of the way, guys, let's get into this article from Variety here of streaming has supersized TV episodes, but how long is too long? 2 decades ago, then NBC executive Jeff Zucker made headlines by supersizing Friends episodes as a month-long stunt. But in the streaming era, viewers are frequently caught off guard by runtimes that vary considerably from one episode to another. Freed from the need to fill a half hour, actually 21 minutes with commercials, actually closer to 22, but I get what they're going, or an hour long, e.g. 44 minutes plus ads, time slot in linear TV, producers are allowing their shows to breathe and let the story dictate how long or short an episode can be. Netflix's new Shonda Rhimes series, Inventing Anna, for example, is an hour long sometimes. Other episodes clock in as many as 75 minutes, while the finale lasts nearly movie length 82 minutes. Disney Plus's The Book of Boba Fett, meanwhile, varies anywhere between 39-minute episodes to a 61-minute finale. Quote, "It's just so strange that for my whole life we were completely focused on episode length," says Gareth Neame, executive producer of The Gilded Age on HBO, who performed similar duties on Downton Abbey. The story had to fill a certain space. If you are really passionate, sometimes you could get another 30, 40, or 60 seconds out of the broadcast because you just needed that extra space. And then suddenly it's fallen away as a major decider. So far in season 1, The Gilded Age has fluctuated between more broadcast-style 46-minute episodes with longer 56-minute episodes, and an opening that clocked in at 80 minutes. But to be fair to The Gilded Age, they did say it's an HBO show, and HBO has never had ads on it, so you can always play with the length. Indeed, many hour-long episodes on streamers are just that, a full hour, which actually means a hefty 15 minutes more than your average drama on an ad-supported broadcast or cable channel. Hack's executive producer Lucia and I'm gonna butcher the last name. I do apologize, but I do know the first name is pronounced Lucia. Lucia Anello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky note that when they worked on cable shows such as Broad City, they had to cut split seconds of their characters breathing to get their comedies to conform to the 21-minute limit. Now, the added length, quote, allows us to have room for stories that might have otherwise been really short, Downs says. We actually get to explore certain things that we otherwise might not. When Evil moved from CBS to Paramount Plus, executive producers Robert and Michelle King suddenly had more freedom to edit the show to the length they needed. Quote, "We have been able to take advantage of the running time looseness," Michelle King says. As Robert King, quote, "We went back to episode 1 and filled in some details of stuff that we cut because of length. Mega-sized episodes have long become the norm in reality TV, where 2 and even 3-hour episodes of shows like The Bachelor and The Voice are not uncommon. For show obsessives, that's perhaps a good thing, but unscripted shows are obviously easier to digest and don't require quite the same level of concentration as a lengthy scripted episode. And with so many programs to power through in the peak TV era, having to sit through longer than usual episodes can be exhausting. Even veteran showrunners note that there's a different rhythm to TV versus the big screen, despite the movie makers who insist at creating long-form films, and some of that comes from knowing your time limits. Quote, "There's one part of me that quite likes the discipline," Neame says. "You know that every scene that stayed in the cut is something that really earns its place. Even if you're binging something all the way through, we have a sense of how long an episode should last. If you start to go half an hour over, that feels a bit confusing. There's a natural length to an episode that we've all been trained to watch." The irony in longer episodic lengths is that, as whole, TV seasons are much shorter in the premium cable and streaming age. Beyond network procedurals and comedies, the days of 22 and 24 episode seasons are mostly a thing of the past, replaced by the 10, 8, or even 6 episode orders. That means that actually, even with these jumbo episodes, there's a lot less of your average series to consume than there was a decade ago. Coincidentally, the conversation about whether TV episodes are too long comes as there's general consensus in film that movies have pushed the limits with their runtimes. Those 3-hour films, why, that's akin to a 3 or 4 episode limited TV series. Ultimately, TV has entered an age of choice, not just for viewers, but for producers too. Want to tell your story in a traditional 44-minute installment over the course of 22 episodes? Broadcast's your thing. Interested in telling a shorter story in installments that can expand and contract like an accordion? Welcome to streaming. Julie Plec, who is executive producing The Endgame for NBC, says she enjoys the freedom streaming brings viewers and creators to a point. Quote, but I don't necessarily think that streaming needs to be an open invitation to just tell the story as long as you want to, she says. I don't resent people who choose to then spend an hour and 20 minutes on an episode, as long as the episode itself feels like it's strong in its intentions and it's moving. So the question of how long is too long, I hate to give the politician type answer here, but in my opinion, it honestly depends. I mean, there are some shows that thrive in like that 22, 23 minute time frame. Think of any sitcom, right? If sitcoms go longer than 22 or 23 minutes, many people complain that, that the jokes are dragged out for way too long. In fact, one of the biggest criticisms of Netflix's revival of Arrested Development was the fact that the episodes were way too long. Given that Arrested Development started as a sitcom. You also have a lot of cop procedurals that really, really thrive in that 42 to 44 minute time slot. However, they also bring this up here. Where is it that, that the whole, 22 and 24 episode seasons are mostly a thing of the past, replaced by the 10, 8, or even 6 episode orders. I would argue that's actually killing these shows a lot more, is that you have to condense the show down so much that you actually remove so much of the nuance that was in those older shows. You can say all you want about quote-unquote filler episodes. I know I'm kind of going off track, but some of those filler episodes also introduce nuance that lasted throughout the entire show. But because they have to cram what otherwise would probably be a 22-episode show down to 10, all that nuance is gone. And that's one of my biggest criticisms. One of my biggest criticisms of Cobra Kai right now is the fact that there's no fucking nuance to the show. None of the character relationships matter because the relationships don't last long enough. Why the hell am I going to get invested? A lot of if you want to focus on more of the characters, you have to introduce the nuance. But in a 10 episode season, you don't have time for a lot of nuance because you have to be go with the primary narrative. So, these 22, 24 episode seasons, oh my God, they're going to bring back filler episodes. But maybe filler episodes is what they actually need. Or let's extend the episodes out to like an hour and 20 minutes. Again, for if it's a mini series, you can get away with it. However, you got to still be careful with length because that can be very, very daunting for some people. Just like with movies, it's like, oh my God, like no episode is like under like 55 minutes. Do I really want to watch this? Because what if it's bad? Now, one of my favorite shows on the FX network was Sons of Anarchy, and at one point the shortest episode was like 53 minutes long. However, that came during the 5th season when the fan base was already established. So yes, the episodes got longer as the show went on, but they got longer by the end because if you're still watching by like season 5, season 6, season 7, you're going to keep watching the show unless if you pull a Walking Dead and you drag it out for way longer than it needs to be. But you get my point is that, you don't have to fit the episodes in the 42 to 44 minute time slot anymore. You can now go 50 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes because the fan base is already there. But if you start off with like your first episode basically being a feature length movie at like 80, 85 minutes, a lot of people are going to sit back and go, ooh, do I want to waste my time watching this Gilded Age show, even though it might not be good? Or am I just going to watch, 3 or 4 episodes of The Big Bang Theory during that time? Because at least with The Big Bang Theory, I know what I'm getting into. With the Gilded Age, I have no idea. What if this like 85-minute episode is really, really bad and I just wasted, an hour and 25 minutes watching a really, really bad show? you know, that's something to consider. And I know I've tangented for way too long, and I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here, guys. Before I drag this out way longer than it needs to be. Ironically, if you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. If you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I'll just see you guys next time.